3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. Liftoff. Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
Alright, let's jump right into this TTMTrades. This is my top 3 for the week plus 1. Please subscribe to the Stock Twitch channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you are looking for a community of traders that work together and make money together, click the link down in the comments below for the Discord chat room and come on and join, and let's get this money together. Now let's just jump right into it. My top 3 for the week is going to be a little risky this week. We're going for big gains. Alright, so when you go for big gains, it's a lot of risk, but we're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. And I'm going to, somebody asked me to do my top 3 for the week based off my trading style. So I'm going to do it based off my trading style. I'm not going to do support, resistance, all of that. I'm going to point it out, but we're going to have all my indicators and everything on my chart. All right, so first up is ticker JAGX. I love JAGX. So as you can see, traditionally, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's go 6 months. Alright, ticker JAGX. As you can see here, traditionally this white line right here, the 50-period moving average, has smacked JAGX every single time. It has literally clotheslined it and has not been able to close above it. Smack, smack, come down, couldn't even reach. Couldn't reach, broke above, failed, broke above, failed, and now we are here. So looking at this right now, what I want you all to pay attention to is the Bollinger Bands. All right, 3 standard deviation Bollinger Bands right here. We got the 20-period moving average, the middle line. All right, as you can see, we was on a uptrend, creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and then instead of making a higher low, a lot of selling, pushed the stock back down to its primary support at 12 cents. As you can see over here, immediately buyers came in, bought shares, as in this large spike in volume, gapped it all the way up to 20 to create that higher high, and now has come back down and created a higher low right back at the support where this area is at. So now we have some consolidation. Do I think this is a good time to get in? Yes. Your entry points right here is the 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band right here at 13, this green one you can see, and then your 20-period moving average right here, right above it, right at 14. Okay, so that serves, this 13 cents serves as a support, and that 50-period moving average, which is coming down, as you can still see right at 15, serves as resistance. Now as you can see, if the stock is making higher highs and higher lows and is pushing up into the 50-period moving average, which has traditionally knocked this down, and then we have a solid support right here at 13 cents. But now we're in a tight little area wedge where one or two things are going to happen. We're either going to break above and create a higher high, or we're going to break below. Now I highly doubt we're going to break below. Why? Because as you can see, as we high, number one, this large spike in volume, which means a lot of people accumulated shares. Somebody accumulated a lot of shares at one time, and then a lot of profit taken up here in this area, and a lot of shorts covering their shares, which created another large spike in volume. Now as you can see, as this began to drop down, the volume is fading off. These are sellers, large spike and selling volume. You'll see it is tapering off each day. It's tapering off. It's tapering off. It's tapering off. The sellers are disappearing one by one. Mind you, while the volume is dropping like this. So all it takes now, what you should see, is probably another day of some slight selling, which will probably be on Monday, and then this thing will bounce off this 13 cents range, maybe even 14, and then it will continue up to make this higher high. Okay, but the sellers are literally disappearing. The volume is literally diminishing bit by bit. Now, since we already know we're making higher highs and higher lows, a lot of people took a large position here, even on days of buying. Look at the volume accumulation, way above average. Days of selling, low. Accumulation, way above average. Days of selling, low. This day of accumulation, way above average. Selling, low. Now Volume precedes price. That is another rule of thumb for you to pay attention to. If volume is spiking, accumulation volume, it precedes price. So what do I mean by that? If you look at this volume, it's increasing with every go round. High, high, higher, even higher. Okay, so this is telling you that a lot of people are taking positions in this general price range down here. All right, and the selling is tapering off, meaning that shorts are getting out of the way. People who have been taking profit, small profit, probably from the support to the resistance, 12 to 17 cents, those shares are getting accumulated. So pretty much all the weak hands are getting shaken out, and now this thing is about to rip. Okay, before we move on, I even want to show you the weekly. Oh, before we move on, even my indicator. So the RSI measures momentum. 10 period moving average, which is the yellow line. The green line is a 30 period moving average. The blue North Carolina blue line is the RSI 14 period default. So as you can see here, we've been on this downtrend. Anytime your RSI is below the 10 period moving average, then that means the bears are in full control and that you should not touch this stock. All right, what do I mean by that? As you can see, we broke through the 10 period moving average, and follow my from this moment. See how I'm matching it up? This moment down, the whole time we're under the RSI, was nothing but selling. See the momentum? Bears have full control of this stock. So I stay clear out of the way. I move on to the next stock. Now, as you can see, we broke through that 10 period moving average and found support right here. Again, went up, found support on it again. So this general area tells me that the bulls are taking back control of this stock. What does that correlate to? This area down here where there's a lot of accumulation. So as you can see, we had the break above the 10 period moving average, and we have been trending on top of this non-stop, creating higher lows and higher highs on the RSI. Now, we did have a nice pullback where we broke through that 10 period moving average, which for me is a sign to get out of a stock when it begins to do that. So right here, as I'm beginning to head towards the 10 period moving average, I start putting in my trailing stop loss. Okay, right here, that's the sign to get out. Would have ended up taking profits in this general area. We broke through that 10 period moving average, did not find support on the 30, but where did we find support at? I always tell all my followers, anytime a stock is in a bullish trend, the RSI will stay between 90 and 40. Okay, I'll put mine at 80 because 90, if a stock reaches 90, that's very extreme, but it will stay between 90 and 40. And when the stock begins to pull back, it will find support on that 40 and that 50 line. Okay, so as you can see, we didn't find support on the 10 or the 30, but guess what we bounced right off of? That 40. And we had a clean break right here, as you can see. Nice volume, and then we're pulling back. Guess where we found support back on the game? That 10 period moving average for the RSI. And then we just hit a double bottom on it. 1 came up, 2 double bottom. All right, so Monday, going into next week, this stock more than likely is going to rip. The sellers are getting out of the way. Mind you, the volume tapering off. The RSI, as far as momentum, is showing us in the bulls' favor. Even the CCI is showing us in the bulls' favor, holding above its 10 period RSI. And this is looking like a great play going into next week. Even the weekly, I'm gonna zoom out to the weekly real quick. Even if you look at the weekly, look at the Bollinger Bands, how they are squeezing on to this stock. When the Bollinger Bands begin to come together, that means that the volatility in this stock is very low and that there's a breakout about to happen around the corner. It's kind of like the quiet before the storm. And these Bollinger Bands are coming in nice and tight. And if you look at the volume the past couple weeks, that gets higher and higher each week. See the buyers increasing each week. See how many buyers are coming in each week, pushing this up. Even on the selling days, it's way below average. The following week, a lot more buyers. This week was a lot of buyers which pushed it up, a lot of profit taking, and a lot of shorts getting out of the way, which brought this back down. So we're making higher highs. So this is going to rip going into next week. All right, so that's ticker JAGX. That's my number one. Let's jump into ticker TOPS. Tops. So that Tops, this has been selling off like crazy dropping non-stop bleeding, non-stop bleeding, non-stop bleeding. Here, let's zoom in a little bit. I shouldn't have drank that Mountain Dew. So non-stop bleeding, non-stop bleeding. All right, finally, as we get down here to this bottom area, right, there are 2 straight days of accumulation and creating 3 straight days of accumulation and also creating higher lows. If you see 1, 2, 3, and then on that 4th day it topped out and then it pulled back. Now with the Bollinger Band's 1 standard deviation, this bottom one represents a 10-period moving average. Okay, so anytime a stock is in a downtrend, it will stay between the 2 standard deviation Bollinger Band and the 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band. So as you can see, this is in a solid downtrend. Tries to break above it, it can't. Breaks above it, falls back below it again. Still tries to break above it, it can't. And then you have this nice break above the 10-period moving average on light volume, which tells me that a lot of sellers are moving out of the way. And then it drops back down and it finds support on the 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band. Okay, then the next day it literally spikes up all the way up to 34 cents on high volume. Okay, the average volume for this stock is 14.38 million. This day that was 70 million of volume, which means there was a lot of buying for 1, and for 2, a lot of shorts getting out of the way, and 3, a lot of profits. So there's a lot going on in this one day altogether. And then it kind of cooled back down, the volume tapered off, and then it found support again right back on top of that 1 standard deviation 10-period moving average, and the volume has went right back below average, 11.78 million, average volume 14.38 million. So this shows that the seller's hands are getting weak as far as pushing this stock down. Okay, and this is a shakeout as far as shorts go. Okay, we call this a shakeout, where a lot of buyers come in and they push the stock and they're accumulating shares and pushing it up, and shorts began covering their shares, getting out, people taking profits. A lot of people beginning to move out of the way that has been riding this stock all the way down. Okay, it's literally called a shakeout. Now that the dust is beginning to settle as the volume tapers off, buyers are looking at this and they will probably begin to make their move to make an entrance on this stock. Now we know the immediate support is down here at 19 cents, right where it bottomed out at. You can say 18 to 19 cents. Right now we have support right on the 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band at 20 on low volume. So what we want to see is the volume to continue to taper off, and buyers begin to come in. If I was to make an entry, being greedy, you could try to make an entry right at that 19 cent range, but anywhere from 19 to 20 is a safe entry right where it's at now. Now what's beautiful about this is my RSI, for 1, as you can see, has been below the 10-period moving average this entire time. Just staying below. It has not been able to break out, right? Below, being rejected, got pushed. Finally, you have a clean breakout, and then it finds support on top of that 10-period moving average. Now, when it found support, this shows that buyers have taken full control of the momentum, and then that signal made a bunch of buyers jump in and accumulate these shares. All right, so now it's beginning to taper off. Now we found support on that 10-period moving average right here, CCI. Guess what? We found support right above the 30-period moving average. It's starting to line up. The price momentum oscillator has crossed to show that the momentum is shifting, and we even have support on our standard deviation 1 Bollinger Band with the volume tapering off. So this could be a big play. All right, good risk to reward ratio right here. Make a safe entry from anywhere from 19 to 20 cents. Hold, put a stop loss somewhere at the wherever you want to put it under 19 cents. And then I believe we'll easily rip back up to make a higher high and test this area up here of 51 in this general area. All right, so tops, that's my second one. Moving on, ticker BTCS. All right, so ticker BTCS. This one has been on the downtrend also, all the way from 30 cents down to this 11-12 cent range, found a nice little base, and then continued to drop. Now we know this one reacts based off what Bitcoin is doing. So Bitcoin itself has actually found a nice area of support right at that $6,000 range, which is making every stock that deals with Bitcoin begin to find support and bottom out, and they're all pending for a reversal right now. So I'm watching BTCS. You have traders who are watching NXTD, some who are watching TEUM, others are watching NETE. Any stock dealing with Bitcoin, a lot of people are starting to watch Bitcoin stocks. Now, just like I told you, anytime a stock is in a major downtrend, it will not, it will stay below this 10 period, well, this one standard deviation bottom Bollinger Band, the green line. So as you can see, it fell through, tried to come back up, rejected, actually came above it, and then came back below it. All right, and then it bottomed out right here at this 7 to 8 cent range. Now, why is the 7 to 8 cent range very important and to me a safe entry? If we zoom out to the weekly, if you look, the 7 to 8 cent range has been a very nice line of support, as you can see here. All right, so when the stock was on an initial downtrend, 7 to 8 cents was a major line of rejection, a major line of resistance, excuse me. Back here was support, fell below it, resistance, broke above it, support, 3 different occasions, 4 different occasions, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this has been a nice line of support as far as this stock has gone. So safe entry would be anywhere from 7.5 cents up to this 9 cent window. Your risk to reward ratio is very strong. Bitcoin itself is beginning to find support, which is making every Bitcoin stock also find support. This could easily bounce from that 7.5 to 9 cent range up to its first line of resistance, which would be the 20 period moving average at 13, 17, 21 cents, and then 24 cents. These are your 3 profit targets, these 3 Bollinger Bands plus your 20 period moving average. Now let's go back to the daily. As you can see on the daily, as we talk about with my RSI, okay, the RSI, as long as it is above that 10 period moving average, then it is in a bullish state. What do I mean by that? Let's look at this. The momentum right here, below the 10 and the 30, below. Bears had full control this entire time. If we look at the time frame on the ticker, below. Bears in full control, finally had to break above, which shows that the momentum has shifted, and it is in whose hands? The Bulls' hands. So when it broke above, that correlates to down here, and this entire run up, holding above that 30 and 10 period moving average, correlates to this run here from 8 cents up to 30 cents. Now, as we can see here, same routine, below that 10 period moving average, tried to break above it 2 different occasions, 1, 2, failed both times, came down, double bottom, and now we had a clean break above with some support on top. So what we want to see here is that this 7 to 9 cent range holds as a solid support. Our RSI holds above that 10 period moving average. If it has a clean break above the 30 period moving average, right here green, right here the green line, then we know that the uptrend has begun and the momentum is completely in the Bulls' favor. So keep an eye on ticker BTCS. And last but not least, ticker CEI. So as you can see right here, the Bollinger Bands again are beginning to constrict for a clean breakout. We see that we have a solid support right here at the 11.5 cent range. If we were to bring this directly across, for those who need a vision, this 11.5 cents range is holding as a nice solid support. As you can see here, traditionally the 50 period moving average has held this stock down all the way. As you can see, the white line, rejected, broke through, could not hold above, rejected, and now we're here. What is this forming? As you can see, if 11.5 cents is solid support, and your 50-period moving average is coming down, continuously coming down in a downtrend, now you are stuck right in this tight channel, which also confirms your Bollinger Bands beginning to squeeze together. So again, it's kind of like the calm before the storm. Low volatility, the stock is about to have a nice breakout. Now, how do you know what direction it's going to break out in? Well, we have to look at the momentum. Number one, our RSI has broke above the 10 and 30 period moving average, came down, has found support, and bounced off of it. So this signals that the momentum is now in the bulls' favor. And then there's some accumulation 2 days here, and then 2 days of accumulation on large volume. The 2 days of selling was on below average volume. Right here, your CCI has also bounced off of your your 20 and 50 period moving average, which shows that the momentum is also shifting into the bulls' hands. So this is definitely a safe play. I would make my entry right where the one standard deviation bottom Bollinger Band is at, right here at 11 and 7 cents. And then its immediate resistance is right here at 12 and 7 cents. So anywhere at that 11 to 12 cent range would be a great entry. Of course, if we know the support is right at 11.5 cents, then you know where to set your stop loss at. Somewhere right up under there. You know we need to make a clean break above this 50 period moving average. Once you make that clean break above the 50 period moving average, then there's a lot of room for this to run with clear resistance points at 15, which correlates to the 16-cent support over here, and then 20 cents as the next resistance, and then we begin heading up to retest at 40. So safe entry, momentum is in the bulls' favor. And then even on the weekly chart, if you take a look, I want you to pay attention to the candlestick that has just formed, which is also signaling a reversal. As you can see here, downtrend, downtrend, downtrend. Look at that candlestick. Beautiful candlestick with a lot of volume, showing that bulls are coming in and accumulating these shares. And again, even on your weekly, your CCI has broke out above that 10 period moving average, and your RSI is flat right there, right along with it. So we're looking out for a breakout this week. It's even made a higher high and a higher low. As you can see, the low is at 10.57. And now we have a higher low, and then we also have a higher high on increased volume. So next week should follow this trend from 12 to that first line of resistance at 15.5, and then move up to that 17 and 18 cent range. And that's it. We're going for big plays this week. TTMTrades. Hopefully you all understood my style of trading just a little bit. Don't want to go into too much detail. But if you learned something, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Stock Twits, and join our Discord chat. The link will be down in the bottom. TTMTrades, I'm out.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.